Johnny here for Johnny's Car Care and Advice. Today, what I want to cover, and the real question I'm going to be asking, is whether the Bronco is going to be good off-road. So we're going to cover all its various options and what will either make this a great off-road vehicle or not so great. I'll also be covering the ideal ways to build your Bronco if you do want to take it off-roading and have a great experience. Will the 2021 Ford Bronco be a good or great off-road vehicle? Well, that's going to depend on you, and it's going to require a lot of soul searching. So to start off, we have to ask ourselves, what kind of off-roading are we going to do? Because the last thing, someone should want to do if they're concerned about price is just go ahead and buy the most expensive Bronco and assume that that'll be the right Bronco for them. So a lot of this boils down to the question of what kind of off-roading are you going to be doing? How often are you going to be doing it? And how extreme is it going to get? So, on Ford's website, jumping right onto the subject, Ford's website says that the base model is just, perfect if you want to kind of upgrade it yourself for off-roading. And, once we start to look at price, I really am not sure about that. Because, when I look over the numbers, if you take a base model and you do build it up to, a great off-road machine, I find that the price difference, if you're paying cash, okay, $4,000 can make a big difference. But if you're going to be leasing the vehicle or financing the vehicle, you're going to be paying monthly. And the monthly difference between a base model that you really equip for some extreme off-roading is going to leave you with a vehicle that's missing a lot of creature comfort that you would have gotten by just spending a little bit more money and getting a different model. So that's really what I want to cover in this video. And at the end of the video, I'm also going to cover, if this is going to be a great off-road vehicle, if you do take the most extreme option, and if you really do need the most extreme option. So let's jump in with one of my favorite models. That's the Black Diamond. The Black Diamond model is, they're calling it the next level outdoor adventure. It comes with all the GOAT modes, but this is confusing on the Ford website because all Broncos come with a GOAT mode. It's just the Black Diamond and the Wild Track and the Badland models are the ones that come with all the GOAT modes. So, this straight off, this is why you need one of these three models. And price, and I'm going to show that a little later, pricing is the reason why I wouldn't take a base model and throw on the Sasquatch package. And I'll explain that a bit later. But for the moment, to cover the Black Diamond edition or model, what's making it special, you see it in the photo. You're getting those, the steel front and rear bumper. It's got great look, but it's, extremely useful because when you're off-roading, you don't want to destroy your plastic bumper on rocks or logs or, what you might think might just be some innocent sand or mud that has rocks in it, which can crack a bumper. You're also getting a rear locking differential, which is really important when you're off-roading and you don't want to get stuck in the mud or the sand. It helps you get out of some nasty situations. And you're getting those rock guards on the bottom of the doors. Very, very helpful. Now, just keep in mind, both the Badlands and the Black Diamond come with vinyl interior. Extremely helpful, but the Badlands comes with bigger tires. Now you get the Bilstein suspension, which is, really useful for following the terrain and helping you get over some really nasty rocks, and the stabilizer bar disconnect. And when you add all that to the fact that it also has a differential in the front that also locks, it definitely does make this better for off-roading. But I'd say this is if you're going to be off-roading in either some sand you can sink in, some really bad mud, or some really wild rock crawling, then you definitely need the Badlands, and it's going to be worth spending that extra money because this is going to help you not get stuck and not have a really bad stressful day when you're off-roading. But if you're going to be doing some some regular off-roading and that it's not extreme, the Black Diamond is going to save you money. It's going to get you through a lot of situations. It'll be good for going into the woods, cutting some wood, hauling the wood out, but it's not going to be your extreme off-roading, rock crawling, get you out of almost any situation Bronco the way the Badlands will be. Now, I've picked these three models as your ideal off-roading machines because of the vinyl interior and rubber flooring. That's going to be really important because when you're off-roading, you're either, bringing in a whole lot of, gravel, a whole lot of mud. Either way, you're going to get the vehicle pretty darn nasty, and that's why one of these models is going to be the right model for you. Mind you, if you're just looking for some creature comforts, you want a really sharp-looking Bronco, I'd suggest going with an Outer Banks. It's really nicely equipped, and it's going to be good off-road. It's just not going to be an extreme off-roading machine. Now let's look at our various options here. If you go with an Outer Banks or a Badlands, you're going to get that unique looking LED lighting in the front. You see the photos here. The headlamps are LED, so they look really sharp, and the Black Diamond doesn't have that. And the Outer Banks is only about $2,800 more than the Black Diamond, but that's partially because it comes automatically with the 10-speed automatic transmission, which is a $2,000 option. Give or take. It's just under $2,000. So when you think about it, the two models are almost identical in price, but you are getting a lot more creature comforts out of the Outer Banks. So if you just want, a comfortable ride, you're going to do a bit of off-roading. You're not going to do anything too extreme, like trying to go gape across rocks and big holes and go into some really deep mud. Then I think you've got your Bronco right there. But if you do want to do some extreme off-roading, things get really complicated. And that's why I said we need to talk about our options, because the Wild Track, it's kind of misleading because it doesn't have the vinyl interior that the Black Diamond has or the Badlands. And the front bumper and back bumper, if you want to have a steel front and back bumper, well, you've got to pay $895 for that option. So things are complicated, and my number one recommendation is to get the order guide, open up the order guide, read through it, and highlight what's important to you. Before getting all confused with all of those options, it's, you have to ask yourself the question, what am I going to use my Bronco for? What look do I want it to have? And what utility do I want it to have? But the Wild Track is everything your Badlands is, and then some. You are losing the vinyl interior, but you still have the LED lighting, but you're getting that with a 2.7 liter twin turbocharged V6 engine, and you're forced, there's only the 10-speed automatic transmission. So the Badlands, you could be rock crawling with a manual, and that first gear is a better rock crawling gear. It's going to be more aggressive. It's going to be geared more for getting you over rocks at really low speeds. But then if you go with a Wild Track, you're going to get an engine with, 310 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. So, there's a lot of options that need to be weighed, and you're not getting the vinyl interior unless you pay more for the leather interior. So things are complicated, but I'm going to try to make things less complicated by looking at price. So the base Bronco starts at $28,500, and it will, get you doing some light to medium off-roading, and I'll be just fine. But if you want to do some heavy off-roading, you need the Sasquatch package, and what that's going to give you is the right tires for doing off-roading, the height, the larger fender flares, and the automatic transmission, which is on demand, it's electronically controlled, and it's going to get you in and out of most any situation. But what you're going to have on your hands is a Bronco on the outside that's going to look a little cheaper than the others, but the interior, you're going to be just fine. You're going to be on tissue. You're going to have a push button start. It's going to have cruise control, and it's going to do the job. It's going to be a good vehicle, and you'll be just fine off-roading. But here's the interesting part. When you add the Sasquatch package, and if you then add a 2.7 liter EcoBoost engine to really be set up for off-roading on the base model, the price becomes very interesting. You go from $28,000 all the way to, you add the Sasquatch package at $7,000, almost $500. And the price gets really interesting on the base model. And I don't mean that in a positive way, because you're now at, $39,000, give or take. So, right here, we see it coming in at $39,920. So correct me. I'm sorry, I have to correct myself. You're coming in basically at $40,000 for your base model with the least amount of equipment. You still have a touchscreen, you have a push button, it looks great. The Ford website says you have LED headlights, but all the photos show that there aren't LED headlights, and it's actually starting at the Outer Banks model, or then the Badlands model, where you're getting those LED headlights. And that's going to be important for, I think, a lot of buyers, so that they can really see the road well, and it just gives an overall better appearance to the vehicle. And, I have trouble with that because the Black Diamond starts at $36,000, and it actually has a vinyl interior, and it has, it has the right suspension to go off-roading for some medium to light heavy off-roading. It comes with the right tires. Now, of course, the exterior look from the photos, we're not getting LED headlights. We're not getting any rims or mags. So, you got a standard looking vehicle. And then when you do go to upgrade that Black Diamond to really make it an off-road machine, still less so than a Badlands or a Wild Track, by adding that 2.7 liter EcoBoost engine, you're at $46,970. So I just don't understand. I don't get it, because you can, jump in and go straight to a Badlands for $42,000 if you can live with the 4-cylinder engine, which 270 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. It's powerful, or straight to the Wild Track. Now, the Wild Track, what makes it special is it comes with the 2.7 liter EcoBoost engine, which you're gonna want if you like speed, if you like a whole lot of speed. And just a reminder, if you like creature comforts and you want the nicest interior, in my opinion, the blue and gray interior, get an Outer Banks and put a Sasquatch package on it if you are going to do some wild off-roading. Because just to remind you, a Black Diamond with a 2.7 and Sasquatch package, you're basically coming in at $47,000. And at that point, why not get the Wild Track? But just a reminder, the Wild Track won't have the vinyl interior the Black Diamond or the Badlands has. And a base model, the reason I'm not a fan of off-roading a base model and equipping it properly is that you basically finish at $41,340 for a base model. Now, if price doesn't scare you, there's still one option, and that's the Warthog. I expect that to come out more towards end of 2022 or early 2023. And let's talk about that Warthog. That the suspension was, first of all, about 1.5 inches higher than your standard Sasquatch package or Wild Track Bronco. And they also noticed that it had unique suspension and roll bars. So the Wild Track, they say it's 35 inch. It's actually 34.4 inch, and I'll prove that later on in the video. But if it goes up to a full 37 inch tire, as the car and driver had noticed, we should expect at least 2 inches more of lift on the truck, maybe 2.5. Now, they also noticed that it had Fox Livewire adaptive dampers, and that's the breakthrough twin tube bypass technology from the F-150 Raptor, so directly quoting car and driver. Also that the axles and the rear anti-roll bar are bigger, so they're saying that this is going to make it more capable off-road. And I'd have to agree with them, because if you look at a base Bronco having only 8.4 inches of clearance and then going up to Badlands where you're at 11.6, I'd expect this to have at least 2 more inches of clearance. And furthermore, something that's really important when you're off-roading. So let's jump into the topic of off-roading. Is this going to be worth the extra money for off-roading? I'd say yes and no. If you're going to do some extreme off-roading, you'll want a Warthog. Or at least a wild track. If you're going to do some, very severe off-roading, go with the Badlands. If your off-roading is, not going to include quite as much crazy rock climbing, then the Black Diamond Edition will be perfect for you, and you'll save a lot of money, because I expect the Warthog to almost be double the price of Black Diamond Edition. But with that extra 2 inches going from 34.4 to 37 inch-ish, it might come in at 36.8, or we don't have the exact tire dimensions yet, so we can't know if it's a real 37 inch, but we'll have to wait and see. But if it is 2 inches, I'd expect the brake angle for approach and departure to increase by 4%. Now that's looking at the difference between the brake angles off a base to a Badlands, which accounts for 4 inches of tire. So I'd expect that if we go up another 3 inches, that we'll get about at least 4% better approach angle and departure angle. And that's really important when you're doing some, really extreme off-roading where you're trying to climb rocks. So I do expect the Warthog to be a lot better off-roading, but it's important to keep in mind what you're going to use the vehicle for, because if you're not going to do rock climbing, I don't think getting a Warthog will make, sense just purely money-wise. It won't be worth the extra money unless you're also looking for, a really unique special edition that will, I expect Broncos to have an incredible resale value, but a Warthog should have a resale value like the SVT Raptor F-150s. So they really, almost don't depreciate, and, they're pretty collectible. I'll expect the Warthog edition to be very collectible later on. So, if those things appeal to you and if the extra power appeals to you, great. I really hope they throw that Power Boost engine on, because if they do, I'll expect fuel economy to be 30% better. And I say better, but not really, because the bigger tires is going to hurt. Bigger, heavier tires will hurt fuel economy, and so will the height of the vehicle. So in other words, you're not going to get 30% better fuel economy, but it's going to help not get quite as bad fuel economy. The increase won't be nearly as noticeable. So let's hope for that power boost. And let's hope the Warthog won't be too expensive, but if it is, there are solutions. The Wild Track is going to be, definitely quite a bit less expensive. When we look at the first edition coming in at $10,500 more than a Wild Track, well, I'd expect the Warthog to be between 60 all the way to maybe even 70,000 US. That way its price would also follow about the F-150 Raptors. So the Wild Track is an amazing off-road rock climbing option. The Badlands with its 33 inch is going to be a good off-road rock climbing model as well. Now the Black Diamond, if you want to go off-roading with a budget and have an excellent machine, that comes in at an excellent price, and it's less expensive because of the suspension that doesn't disengage, and tires. So, I think Black Diamond is an amazing off-road option. Comes in at a reasonable price compared to the others. So I think this is going to be the big seller. And we're going to get a Black Diamond way before we get a Warthog, which will probably be more for 2022, maybe even 2023. And please keep in mind that Ford got so many reservations and have already said they won't be able to fill them all, that you really do need to get a purchase in soon so you can get a 2022. As always, if this has been helpful, which I really do hope it has, please like. And if you want more Bronco videos, please subscribe. And a little plug for my upcoming video. I'm going to be covering arrival dates for Broncos, not just for people who've already reserved. And heads up, the Canadian website Ford.ca will no longer take reservations. So pre-orders are over and done with in Canada. So let's expect that and accept the fact that that's going to happen to the US Ford.com website. But that does not mean that it's impossible to get a 2021 Bronco. So in my next video, I'm going to cover how to get your hands, got to do it quick, but how to get your hands on a 2021 Bronco, because there is still a way outside of the reservation pile. And keep in mind that a lot of those pre-orders, those reservations, it looks like they're only going to be building, give or take, a third of them for 2021. And I'm going to explain how and why that's the case. And I'm also going to explain what does happen if your reservation does get turned into a 2022 Bronco, because that news isn't that bad either. And all hope is not lost if you haven't placed a reservation. So please watch my next video. I've got a little cue to help us out for those of us that are, getting a little desperate and really wanting a Bronco, but have had trouble picking and selecting what Bronco we want. So I hope this video has been helpful and hope you'll be watching the next one. Take care, and we'll be seeing each other again soon. And well, really, I should say hearing from each other again soon, because I do appreciate the comments that people are adding on the videos. People are adding really useful information, asking great questions, and it's giving me ideas for new videos. So my next video is actually based off a comment/question that someone asked. So thank you so much for getting engaged and involved with these videos.